Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Simon and we are the Whales of Wall Street. Today we've got an unbelievable video here around EGLD. That is EGLD Elrond. Okay, EGLD on the exchange. Before we do that, please do make sure, if you have not done so already, that you like this video, find it informative, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and press that notification bell to make sure you get updates of our awesome videos coming away in the future. So now we've got that out of the way, let's go to play in the chart. So what have we got here? Unbelievable. We've hit the all-time high, a new all-time high. The last all-time high was back here in April. So we've managed to go through that, and we nearly got to that 300 massive dollar mark, which is absolutely incredible. It's on the way. I still think we're going to get between $800 and $900 in this big run coming up for sure. Let us know what you think in the comments below, what your price prediction is for 2021. I think we in the last video went for something around $870, which I'm pretty happy with. I'm going to stick with that for now. I know some people are saying 1,000, and that's absolutely possible as well. It's a gigantic project, it's phenomenal, but I just think we need to see a big stretch. And I think even as well with that point, that's even from this point that we had back here. I mean, even if we adjust this to let's say now's all-time high, that's still an extra 200% gain from here to there. So let's see how we go. And just by that fact as well, actually, on that all-time high point, that took us 358% growth since the 21st of July. And that was the pinpoint of when the U-turn was occurring from the big drops we had market-wide across the board. Okay, so performance-wise for Elrond, 58% up on the week, which is absolutely phenomenal. The 1 month is 100% up. 100% up. That is incredible. In fact, I just want to quickly check something while we're here. So this point here to there, 70% rise in 4 days for a project like Elrond in its stage that it's at. That is phenomenal growth, in my opinion. That must be a lot of volume going in those areas. In fact, let's just see here, volume. Wow, that's amazing, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, year to date up 1,000 as well, which is absolutely incredible. And just to confirm what we mentioned about the big increase here, obviously this is taking a slightly different scaled approach, but yeah, 209% up on the 3 months as well. That is insane. So a couple more observations, guys. We circled this point here as being critical. Of course, then we had the stupid Bitcoin nonsense day, which was not necessarily unpredictable. I think there was a lot of chart movement and so much over purchasing going on across the board. It was natural that we would have a tail off. Obviously, maybe not as big as that as a natural perspective, but we rode that storm with Elrond and we pursued the path to greatness. We had this previous sort of channeled area here, with an anticipation to try and get into this more diagonal approach, similar to like how we saw here, with a steady growth pattern towards that 300 by the end of October. However, it's done a mind of its own and gone straight for it, all guns blazing. So there's a couple of things I would say about that, to just be cautious, because as we just mentioned, that's a 70% increase. We've obviously seen a bit of a retracement today already. The Asian market hasn't opened as yet of this recording. And of course, there might be some more profit taking, or certainly some justifications around pulling more momentum downwards for this today, just because of this great rise that we've had over the 4 or 5 days. So let's just be like very cautious about that. The MACD is quite wide. The gap is quite big. The volumes have been stepping up, which is fantastic, but there will always be a point where this starts leveling off and tailing down. We see it down here. Obviously, the sell-off isn't massive in this period, and the reason that is mainly because Elrond is such an awesome project. You're going to see a substantial amount of money involved in it already, and I think more and more people are holding this for long term. I've got mine in staking personally. And I'm not really anticipating to sell unless we, hopefully we get to that kind of $800 or so mark, and then I would be stupid not to, because I've got pretty much all of mine at $20, I think, and maybe that's not early as many of you out there, but for me that felt early. And I think it will seem very early when I've sold them for however much that'll be. But yeah, back to the chart. So the RSI is quite top heavy at the moment, 82. It doesn't mean that we're not finished. It probably means that we've still actually, to be fair, got a bit more of a push inside us. I'm I'm sorry I didn't get the RSI when it was up here. It may have been more towards 85 anyway. But let's just keep an eye on this. So the two observations I have here is that the potential of the reduction, now we've hit this area, to then come back and test this area back here at potentially around the 244, depending on what Bitcoin does, in my opinion, because there is always a momentum with Bitcoin that it might drop, say maybe $3,000-4,000, and that would be enough to tank the entire market a bit more as well. So we might get a touchdown on that, purely just in general, 70%. I mean, if that did hit 100, I would be anticipating actually, yeah, there probably will be a sell-off of at least maybe 25-30% of that. So let's see how it goes. And we're kind of over purchased in the sense of my analysis from the last video. That doesn't really mean much, to be honest. That was more of a guideline. But I've also got this red line here. And why have I put that in there? Well, I put that in there because the 300 mark is just below, pretty much in the middle of that, between this yellow and red line. And in fact, I'll try and zoom in a bit more. Now, when we think about psychological numbers, so this didn't hit 300, obviously. It went to 396.45, roughly. Now, when traders, like whether they're 4 hourly, daily, whatever, they tend to not go for the rounded number like majority of people in the world would. And it's absolutely natural to go, you're selling in like incremental stages, almost like $50 a time. And 300 is obviously quite a big number. It's quite a sensational number, like any marker of 100, right? So they would tend to do it slightly before to try and grab profits before there was too much volatility. Certainly on a 4 hourly or maybe an hourly chart, the volatility can be quite mental in that period of small period of time. So people try to take advantage of it before it gets to that, and that's why you tend to see most projects never really touch the rounded number the first time, or maybe even the second time. It sometimes take a few goes to do that, and that's just purely from the reasons why I've just outlined there. So it's not a surprise at all. I would have actually thought that we would hit more towards the 297. I know it sounds really stupid, between like we're talking about like maybe 50 cents there, but I'm quite surprised it was that low off of 300. But that's not to say it's over, guys. Like I said, the retracement is occurring already. The Asian market hasn't opened yet, so we may see a tail down a bit more. But I think there's so much bullish momentum right now in Elrond that I think we're going to attack this area again. I don't believe at this stage that the bears are willing to push this downwards, So I'm really anticipating that we're going to push potentially for another all-time high to get to that 300. And my critical area here with this red line is around 303 to 304. And it's exactly the same principle I just mentioned, but the opposite end of that. And I think if we're going to push Elrond up to the next levels, let's say that certainly from the fib retracement section here, I think we're looking at about $350 as a net marker. Yeah, roughly about then. In fact, in the long term, to be fair, we're not far off that kind of anticipation anyway. So yeah, there's an anticipation to get 350, and it's not impossible for us to jump straight to that. I mean, look, if you look here, the 2-3 incremental stages over 3 days, we've gone from 159, 170, so that's about $20, 170 to pretty much 200, that's $30, and then we've gone from 200 to 234, and then pretty much the same to 270. So it's not impossible at all over the next few days for us to potentially push to this area up here. But I really believe it's about this. Not only getting over that 300, but staying over the 300. If you get that over the tip top and then the drop down, then you know that we've obviously secured the all-time high as a number, but maybe we're not quite ready to get that as a support level. And that's why I think, and even right now, I've still got this buy area in here, just in case. And I will even put some potential buy orders, not necessarily above this line. I would probably say, you certainly, where these two yellow lines are on each side, you might want to have buy orders on each of those sides for the same principle we just mentioned. And there is always a possibility that we might draw back here. I'm not really interested personally in this area of a drawback because it's not like significant enough for me. Like it is $50, but it's not in the grand scheme of things. Personally, that doesn't mean for everyone else that could be a massive, massive accumulation for people. So it's not right for me to say that is a good or bad decision. I'm just saying personally, I'm not interested in this, but majority of people out there may be interested. So the charts will never go up and up and up forever. They will always come down. And I do think this is a really big point here. We've got the all-time high, we've got the potential new resistance lines here, and that red line is my honest opinion as a real support mechanism level here at around 304. If we can break that and close over a 2-3 day period, we could sustain that. But with Bitcoin, as I mentioned, and a couple of other variables, we may come and test that line, and don't be disappointed about that. That's pretty healthy in my opinion. Going from going from down here 160 to 300, like that's pretty much double. Okay, that's almost an understanding that, okay, maybe we don't drop the 50% all the way down here, but at least 25-30% drop is pretty amicable, to be honest, in my opinion. So just keep those areas in mind, and also keep in mind as well what we just mentioned here. So really the next 24-40 hours are super critical to decide whether we go and push that all-time high again, and accelerate past that. And if we accelerate past that, it could just be the bullish momentum that pushes us here. And if we do get to around the 350 area, or just before that, I'd probably say 346. In fact, I'm going to draw it in now to remind myself in the next video, if it's not happened in a few days time, I'm going to put it there. If we hit this area, I'm going to assure you that there'll be a bounce back, that's for sure. And it might even be back down to here, or certainly down to these levels around here. So in all honesty, guys, like whatever happens, I'm super excited about this project. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm really enjoying the analysis personally. Like, I don't know if you guys are or not, but I just find it really entertaining. I think it's a really interesting one to follow. And yeah, I just think there's just a few variables here. Just be cautious, but at the same time, anticipate both ends of the spectrum. Okay, that's what we want to push the point across. Okay, so this rise here for me is quite steep. Like we said, it's not gradual, so do be cautious of that. This steep line here. Okay. That's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Elrond, EGLD, and let us know what your price predictions are for this year. And we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing, for getting us over the 1,000 mark. It's unbelievable, and we really appreciate the support. I'm going to leave it there. Goodbye.